live recording, gentlemen. So just I had the random thought one day of what the actual Dark Age is, because like there's a lot of Sonic discourse going on Twitter, and as usual, none of it's really relevant. So I got to thinking, like, what is the real Dark Age? Because everybody calls like the Dark Age from like Heroes to Black Knight the Dark Ages, and I personally disagree for reasons that we'll get into later. But I felt it was necessary enough to have the discussion about it. So what are y'all's thoughts, I guess, on like what constitutes a Dark Age for the franchise? I'll let Brother Pooch Man go first.
Okay. To me, I feel like the Dark Ages. To me, the Dark Age really started with 06, because that was like their next big. It was supposed to be their next big release, and when 06 dropped, we got 06, and it was like, nah, that ain't it. That is really not it, and I think that set them back about a good, I won't say a whole decade, but it definitely, like, it changed up how they moved forward for like the next 3 or 4 games. It was like they couldn't figure out how to appeal to their consumers. And we ended up getting more things that we didn't want. But at the same time, I think that's also when they started actively listening to people, like to their customers. The problem is that their customers don't know what the fuck they want either. Like, the problem with Sonic fans is that we can't never agree on shit.
Yeah.
And it just spiraled out of control for damn near 10 years.
Yeah. And I, like, you said a couple of things that I wanted to that I think like are already in my whole like spiel, because like I'm not gonna lie to you, nigga. Like when I speak, I'm finna yap. Like that shit might be like a good 5 minutes, which y'all are free to interject, but I'll let Musa go before I say anything. What about you, brother?
All right, yeah. So for me, what constitutes a Dark Age is a complete lack of quality, like brand standard, inconsistency. That's to me what a Dark Age is. So as somebody growing up in what is, I guess right now, as far as labels go, the de facto Dark Age, I didn't think that the brand was lacking that much quality, or it was that inconsistent, minus Sonic 06, which absolutely was just, the quality wasn't there. I feel like the 2010s were the Dark Ages for me. I will say everything from Colors up until Forces, Generations being the one exception. So is that Colors, Lost World, Boom, and it's 3 or 4 games. Oh no, it's 3. Boom and its 3 games, Colors, Lost World, and then Forces. All of that, that's the Dark Age for me, and that's kind of what I consider a complete lack of quality, brand standard completely gone.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. And like, cause for me it was just like quality. It's always quality that I consider first, and then I have to look at consistency, because that kind of goes hand in hand. And like, this is the beginning of the yappery. So like, if we look at each era, like if we look at like, you know, classic, adventure, quote unquote dark ages, and then the meta era, they all start the same, right? And it's kind of scary when you look at it. They all start off really strong, and then as the era goes on, you get less and less on brand releases. So like, if we look at the classics, we had 1, 2, CD, 3, and Knuckles, right? And those were all goated games. And then almost everything after 3 and Knuckles was either middling or subpar. So you got Sonic, which one came first? 3D Blast came first, right? And it's kind of mid. And then you had R, and it's kind of mid. And then you had Extreme, which got canceled, but they kind of converted that into Sonic Adventure, right? And it was goated. And then you move on to the Adventure era. So we have Adventure 1, Adventure 2, Heroes, the entirety of the Portable, so the Advanced Saga, Rush, and then that's kind of where the peak stops. Because on the back half, we get Shadow the Hedgehog, which is mid, 06, which is 06. You get Rush Adventure, which is good, because it's a sequel to Rush, which is good. But for mainline console releases, you get, after 06, it's Secret Rings. And then you get Unleashed, which was at the time, like, people were saying the day stages are great and the night stages are passable, but they're not the day stages, so it's a 5 out of 10. And we've all seen how the revision has worked on that fucking game, and it's now considered by most either peak or at the very least an 8 out of 10 game. Like, I am Unleashed strongest soldier. Y'all know how I feel about that fucking game. But you have Unleashed, which, you know, I consider, you know, a top tier game. And then capping that era off, you have the Black Knight. So like, it always starts off really good and then kind of tapers off over time. And I think most people would agree, like, that the meta era, for me anyway, for me and Musa, the meta era is like what we should actually be calling the Dark Ages, because I like Colors. You know, most people like, I think generally most people like Colors. Generations is goated. That's a peak Sonic experience to me as well. And then from after Generations, like, everything else was just, it felt like super corporate. And what I mean by that is, like, they were playing it extremely safe, going with what people had said they liked and not deviating from that formula too much at all. Even when we got Boom, which was an alternate universe, it's just, okay, this feels like Colors but worse somehow. Don't even know how y'all managed to do that.
I would say even with Boom, like using the cutscenes in the show without the gameplay, since Sega really screwed up that company. What is it, Big Red Button or whatever?
Yeah, Big Red Button.
Yeah, they really screwed them over. So not counting the gameplay, Boom did have a lot of promise. Like, I remember being really excited for it, but after, it's going to be on the Wii U, and they have to redo everything, and
yeah,
the last minute change here, last minute change there, kind of just that entire sub-series was just really ruined because of that.
Yeah. And like,
I mean, it's not completely, the idea was good, but corporate meddling is what fucked the game up.
Yeah. Cause like, the show was fucking hilarious. Like, I love the Boom show, and I was excited for the alternate universe with it when it got announced.
Yeah.
And again, that's why I said, like, all of those games were like super corporate, because Sonic Team has always been not a separate entity, but like they operated within their own vacuum, and that's what made that shit great. And it really only got fucked when either like the top brass at Sega or the top brass at Sammy, because they are in that fucking deal until I think like the end of this year, started trying to interject and be like, hey, we need a Sonic game every year. We don't care how you get it out. And that was where shit kind of got fucked in each era, because 06 was a result of corporate meddling. It's like, hey, we're going to split these teams because we decided that Nintendo needs 3 exclusive Sonic games. So we're going to split this team mid-development. And not only that, but the scammer himself, Yuji Naka, is going to leave the motherfucking company. That's, nigga, like, it's almost every misstep hasn't really been like the fault of the dev team. It's almost always been like corporate meddling or corporate misunderstandings. And I think Forces and Boom are probably the biggest result of that, because after Forces, we didn't get another mainline Sonic. I don't think we got a Sonic game after Forces until Frontiers. Like, these niggas, like, they took
Team
5
Offline
years. It's not real. Those aren't real games.
Yeah, it's not a good game, and it's not a real game.
it's not a real game, man. But like that, and that just like that led to what I would consider the Dark Ages, because it's like, you know, the overseers are like repressing the fucking artists the same way that like that shit happened back in like the real world. There's like a lot of fucking, there were no real advancements in the formula or the series. It was just, it was like the epitome of the problems that people had with the boost formula. And that's I think we've already talked about that in another video, because, you know, we're just that goated as a Discord and as people. But Forces was like just the culmination of like corporate meddling, nigga. That is somebody did an entire playthrough of that game with one hand. Like that is not what the boost formula was intended to be. But like, when you have put a game out a year, or we're gonna cut funding and halve your dev team, when those are the fucking ultimatums, those are the kind of games you get. And that's really why I think like the meta era is the real Dark Ages, because at least with like the post adventure era, the mid we got during that era was relegated to one console, with the exception of 06, because you still had the portable games, which were good. So you had Advance 1 through 3, Battle, Rush Adventure. Like, that output was really solid. Unleashed was solid. Black Knight was solid. It was a marked improvement over Secret Rings. Still suffered from being a Wii exclusive, but like, it was still the better game overall. So like, the only real missteps in like the post-adventure era, to me anyway, were Shadow, as far as the story is concerned, because Shadow is a better feeling Heroes, and I'll die on that hill. And then 06, which was, you know, like the tragic story, the most tragic gaming story of all. And it's really just two missteps out of the entire era. Whereas like the meta era started off on the right foot with 2 bangers, and then everything else was disliked by the community, like agreed upon to be mid by the community.
Can I just say that during this entire conversation, and it just came to my mind, we forgot about Rivals.
Exactly.
And I mean, even
Rivals
then, like,
that's also a mid game, but I just thought about it.
Like, Rivals is like, it's mid, not in the sense of like it doesn't accomplish what it set out to do, but it's just like, this is a thing that exists. Like, that's what I think of in Rivals, because like, I genuinely can't say Rivals is a bad game, because it's like, it has a different formula, it has a different goal than traditional Sonics. And I mean, if you look at it in the vein of racing games, it's probably the best racing game outside of Riders for the franchise, because R is fucking terrible. Hold Up to go forward, like, that shit sucks. All-Star Racing was good. All-Star Racing Transformed was good. The third one was, again, a corporate product. So
we're not gonna count that in the All-Stars Racing legacy.
Okay, I mean that's fair.
We don't have to do
because like real shit. Transformed was the last one that I even gave a fuck to play. I'm not gonna hold you. Like Transformed was just all right, cool. This is it. This is the last game, and then they made another one, a team racer at that.
With only the Sonic cast.
Yeah, but you know, like I said, Rivals is just like it's a thing that exists. I can't say it's bad because it's not. It did exactly what it was intended to do, and it functions well. So like I can't say it's it's a bad game, but yeah, to be fair, like in the grand scheme of things, those are like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 games just because I whatever. And even then, they were better than the mid we got in the meta era, because the meta era gave us Free Riders and Sonic Team Racing. Like, nah, man. Nah, brother. And I just like it's always funny that like the post-adventure era basically gets called the Dark Ages almost exclusively because of 06. And I think.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't think like one misstep, no matter how big for an entire era, is enough to classify that whole era as the Dark Ages collectively, because there were the good games in that era outweigh the bad. It's just that the bad games were so fucking monumentally bad that it kind of eclipses it. But to me, like it's like I said, it's always quality and then the consistency of the quality, and that's my take on it. I still think the meta era should be classified as the real Dark Ages.
Yeah.
And to add on to that, I think another reason it's called like the Dark Ages is because the Ken Penders bullshit. Just because that kind of in Chronicles in general was already, people were like, oh, there goes Sonic experimenting again. But to then add on a lawsuit almost immediately after the game drops.
Yeah.
I think like all of those things kind of go hand in hand. There's more than one reason, but quality of games is not, like overall, that is not the reason. Because brand standard is there. All the characters are relatively in what's the word? Sorry, in character. I'm just drawing a blank for some reason. For most of those games, if not all of them.
Facts. Because I just like, you know, when you grow up in those eras, like as an adult, I think it kind of gives you a little bit different of a perspective, because this community has an inherent bias problem where people think like their first game in the series is the objective best, or the era that they grew up in is the objective best. And you got to understand, like this is more of a philosophical thing, but you have to understand, like you cannot use the word objective and then good or bad behind it, because good and bad are opinions, or at the very least points of view, and they are not absolutely true. Even my favorite game, even the game that I would call the best Sonic game, that's an opinion, and there's no way to empirically prove that this is the best Sonic game or this is the worst Sonic game. So I don't really hold like the mindset that there can be an objectively bad or objectively worse anything just because grammatically it doesn't make sense. But
well, hold on. I can empirically prove that Sonic Adventure 2 is the best Sonic game. I can prove that.
Why? Is it because it has live and learn in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hate both of y'all so much.
I can come up with more reasons, but yeah, that's one of them.
Change lives.
That fucking tired ass song, man. Like,
we've been singing it for 20 years for a reason.
Brother, it's all hanging on the edge of tomorrow, brother.
Brother, I'm trying to open my heart, gang. that's my opinion on the matter. But with that being said, like even with me saying, like, you know, I think that this era is like the true Dark Age era, that's still an opinion. Like, we could look at it from multiple points. Like, I don't look at review scores because I don't care. The only opinion on a game that matters to me is mine. But even like I look at review scores for nothing other than data to like sate the peanut gallery, because looking at sales numbers also really isn't an indicator of a good or a bad game. It's just more or less what the masses want. You can't look at sales and then say like this thing is good because it has the highest numbers. It's the same thing with like outlets or people, YouTubers, whatever. But the fact that the meta era saw diminishing returns on every single game after Generations definitely says something. Like, Boom didn't break, I don't think Boom broke 500,000, and then Forces sold even less than that, and Frontiers was the start of a new era. And I hope to God that like the prophecies that have taken place in every era don't happen to the current era, because we have gotten 3, at least in the public eye, we have gotten 3 absolutely banger games in a row from Sonic Team. Like, Frontier, Superstars, and Dream Team have all been schmackers, and I am both incredibly excited and incredibly nervous for the next mainline game. My only hope is like they take their time to develop it. If we don't get the next mainline game until 2026, I'm cool with that, because I know that they took their fucking time on it. If we get it next year, I'd be okay. Like, I'd feel more comfortable getting the next big game in 2026. But yeah, that's just my opinion on it, because these niggas have been cooking. Like, they have not missed yet this console generation, and that's saying a lot considering where they came from.
I cannot tell a lie. I really do not care. For
Superstars,
that they're taking their time. I wasn't even gonna mention Superstars, but that shit sucks too.
Because I know how you feel about Superstars, so.
Right, I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
Man, I hate Superstars.
Because I'm like, we got peak tiers. Superstars doesn't exist in Musa, so he's got peak tiers and peak team, Dream Peak. God, man, like it's so weird. Cause like I'm optimistic for the current era, the current direction. Cause like Sega's bringing back old IPs, so like that kind of gives Sonic a break. This isn't the last Yakuza game. This is potentially the last Yakuza game with Kiryu in it. But the franchises that have held them up are kind of being, you know, put into, I don't want to say stasis, but like they're kind of being given a break, because we got a Persona 3 remaster coming out. We haven't had another announcement for the next Sonic game, and there's no announcement after Yakuza 8. So like the pillars of Sega are kind of being put on the back burner to focus on reviving some of their other franchises, which I think is cool. That should be a decent enough break for them to like come up with something new or improve the formula they already had. I don't think we're going to get Frontiers 2. I don't think that's going to be the next big game. It'll probably be something.
I don't think if I expect it, but I expect it in the sense of it'll be that grandiose. I don't know if it'll be exactly open world.
I don't think,
or open zone, whatever they called it.
Yeah, I don't think it will either, because personally, like, I liked it. I like there isn't a lot about Frontiers that I dislike, in all honesty, but it could be more of a not open zone per se, like you said, but a sandbox. Because I think that's what they're going with the new Jet Set too, because they were like, instead of like dropping you randomly into these areas of play, it's like, you kind of go around and discover the areas of play, and then there are things to do within those areas. And I think that'd be cool. Like even if my damn it, I'm trying to think of the word. Like my vision would be something akin to like the adventure era, where there's shit to do in an open world. It's just more expanded. And then as you go out into different parts of the world, you enter, like a stage or a zone or something. Like where you're in Station Square and you go through the hotel, there's no like loading screen for Emerald Coast. You just go back there and then it starts Emerald Coast. That was kind of what I was thinking would be like the next big sandbox style game. But I feel like we're due for another basically like a console equivalent of Rush. Like that's what I'd like to see, in all honesty. Like
another boost game?
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's the
adventure, but with boost.
Like that's
if they make
fuck
boost
no.
games.
Fuck no. Fuck no, bro.
Look like.
Like if we get adventures, like it's at this point it's got to be remakes, because I think they need a couple more titles under their belt before they feel confident giving us a 3, because that shit's gonna get put under a neutron microscope.
Yes, sir.
Like
it's gonna have to.
Like if because niggas were reacting this way about Frontiers and Superstars. Oh my God, you put the word adventure in that game, brother. Think pieces galore. Think pieces for the next 10 years. Jesus.
Sonic they could never make that.
Yeah, it's too late, honestly. Like I think the moment's passed. Like y'all would just have to, if you
expectations are way too high for
yeah, like if they make another adventure game, they can't call it adventure. You would just have to use the formula, craft the game, and call it something else. Like you cannot put adventure or 3 on that fucking game. Like just let that subtitle perish.
Sonic Grand Journey.
Some Sonic Expedition.
Yeah.
That might be the Sonic Rangers.
Like Explorer.
But yeah, man.
I think the moment that you do that, like it doesn't matter. The game can be on the level of like the Spider-Man PS4, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild.
Can't call it adventure.
Whatever.
Do not call it adventure.
Just having the adventure name, automatically every small piece will be screwed over.
They will start talking about a new Sonic adventure, and niggas will say, "Play Frontiers."
Yeah, because like it's the revision. It's the revision in the community. Like as soon as Sonic Adventure 3 drops, Frontiers is gonna be a 9 out of 10 game to everybody. Like they do this shit in every fucking game. It used to be every fucking era. Now it's every game. I was like, every game, the last one. We hate the last one on release, or y'all hate the last one on release, and then the new one drops, and it's like, oh man, the last one was absolutely peak. Brother, it took 14 years for you niggas to realize that Unleashed is a good game. 14.
I ain't gonna blame that completely on the community, because,
I am.
With the cycling in and out of people, kids are growing up, or kids. Those of us in our 20s can now express our opinions online.
I'm still gonna blame that shit on the community, brother. Because not wholly on the community, but like the community played a huge hand into that. Because Sonic 06, like Sonic 06 reviews were basically the birth of Sonic 2, and everybody hated that game. Like if you didn't have an 06 review out from like 2006 to 2010, you weren't making revenue, bro. Like I wish like I was an internet archivist at the time, but like 06 reviews were basically like whatever the current dance trend on TikTok is. Like you had to have one, and if you did, you were guaranteed 10K views minimum. Everybody saying the same shit, doesn't matter. That was the start of a lot of niggas' careers. So like, of course, the media, gaming media saw that shit and was just like, oh, okay, well, this is how the community feels. We're kind of vindicated in saying this is how we feel. Same thing happened for Unleashed. Everybody was like, oh my God, the day stages are so good, but they're so short. The Werehog, it's not bad, but it's different. I want to play day stages. That's all I want to play. And then you get 5 out of 10s from everybody because quote unquote, they made half a game. So we're going to give them half a score. Like we very much so have a hand in the perception of this franchise, unfortunately. And I wish more people would realize that when we just callously throw opinions onto the internet like they're facts. I blame EU. I blame EU YouTube. As an American, I feel like that's where all the problems stem from. I blame the entire European Union. That's where all the bad press comes from for anything. Roll Tide. Red, white, and blue. These colors these colors don't run.
Right there. Raise hell, praise Dale.
Right.
Nah, you going crazy right now.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, man, like that's just final verdict. We'll do a round table. I'm in the camp that thinks the meta era is the real Dark Ages, man. Because it was just like, hey, here's 2 games, and then a whole bunch of mid-tacular mid for the next 7 years. So yeah, that's where my opinion lies. What about you, brother Pooch man?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to concede with that one. Looking back on it, yeah, niggas really got 2 games that were gas, and then just hot balls of no for the rest. But somehow meta, somehow great, somehow goated. I won't say that I don't understand, but I don't fucking get it.
2 games for gas? I'm not really getting it. What 2 games are you talking about?
Colors and Generations.
Colors and Generations.
Generations? That's only 1 game. Unless you're talking about the 3D ones.
We said Colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't like Colors. We know. We understand. Still, Colors. again. Like I'm weighing personal opinion against public reception. I like Colors. I enjoyed Colors. I enjoyed the 3DS one more so because I'm always like, please give me more Rush. But Colors, in the public eye, Colors was what put Sonic back on track after, you know, the public calls the Dark Age. Colors was that game that kind of flipped perception about the franchise. Like that's just that happened. Like we can't even sit here and say that's not true. That's absolutely what happened. like niggas were like jizzing over Colors when it released. Generally speaking.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. I can't lie and say that wasn't what I saw.
Yeah.
Even though I was sitting there like, what are they talking about?
Right.
This is just worse.
I'm like, you know, like everybody can have their opinion. Like you can 100% have your opinion, and I'm not even gonna try to sway you otherwise. But
yeah.
Colors definitely was like the, oh my God, Sonic is back. That was that game for sure. But Musa, what are your thoughts? How you feeling?
The real Dark Age was the Game Gear age. Nah, I'm joking.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, meta era. Meta era. While we're still dealing with people trying to justify or, you know, arguing about Sonic's personality.
Oh my God.
We've dealt with this BS for 10 plus years.
Yeah, so like the media, Oh man, now I want to make that a group video. I was gonna do the media literacy video by myself, but I'm gonna make that. That's spoiler alert. Whenever I do another Sonic video, that's what the next Sonic video is, guys. But I think I want to have that group discussion too, because you are an artiste, and I respect your opinion on the consumption and literacy of media, and I am a fucking dork. So I also understand media consumption and how we should receive media, and Poochie is a father of two.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good enough.
Yeah, that's good enough. He's look, man, that nigga gets to see firsthand how the younger generation interacts with things and their level of understanding. But
let me tell you something. My son is Sonic. Like he's everything crazy. Like anything that's shiny, he loves. And Sonic is one of those things. Like I just bought him a Sonic hoodie. Son really got that drip on. That nigga lost his shit. He was like, oh
my god! Holy shit!
Yeah, man. Do it because I love you, man. Like I love you too, daddy. Shit does something to your heart.
Yeah.
Get your kid, man. It's fun.
No.
It's fun over here.
No. Not at all. Yeah, you can have mine, bro. I'm gonna double it and give it to the next person. But that's
then I'm also going to double it and give it to the next person.
Yeah,
I'm in this economy.
Like we just put quadruplets on somebody. Somebody gonna have some good quadruplets, man. But y'all hold that. But that's gonna be where we end it, man. Meta era. You are now the Dark Ages, thus declared. The rough transition. I'm gonna leave links to everything in the description. Come through, talk, argue, get bullied, whatever. We got it all. We got it all in that Discord, man.
By order of the Peaky fucking Blinders.
Right, by order of the Peaky fucking Blinders. We'll see y'all in the next video, man. Peace.
See ya.
Nigga. Yeah.